Hi everybody, it's Cathryn from In the Pink Designs, and today I just want to mention a couple of new things. For those of you that are demonstrators, the July online exclusives pre-order starts today. And for everybody, there is new last chance items. Some of them are discounted, and there is also a sale on sweets and sweet products. So if you buy a sweet product, you get a sweet product at half price. If you buy a full sweet, you either get a product at half price or another sweet at half price. All right, so there's lots of stuff available right now if you want to take advantage. All right, so today I'm using the Extraordinary Flora stamp set and dies bundle. I made a box that is a double treat box or gift box, whatever you want to use it for. It measures 3 by 4 1/4 by 1 1/2, and it opens with Velcro dots. And inside each side, I have a Mrs. Fields chocolate chip cookie, but you can fit like probably 2 on each side of fun-sized candies in there. So it's a nice treat. All right, so what we need for this project is a piece of soft seafoam that is 10 5/8 by 7 1/4. We also need 2 pieces of soft seafoam cardstock that are 3 by 4 1/4. I got this circle from the Stylish Shapes dies. It's about 2 1/2, maybe a little bit over. Okay, I'm using 2 patterns of the soft seafoam Subtles Designer Series paper. We need 4 total that are 2 3/4 by 4. 1 that is 1 3/8 by 4. 2 that are 1/2 by 4, and 4 that are 2 3/4 by 1/2. And you can get all of this written out on my blog. Everything is linked below. All right, so let me get my Simply Scored. And we're going to start on the 10 5/8 inch side and score at 3/4, 1 1/2, 4 1/2, 6 1/8, 9 1/8, and 9 7/8. Okay, now we're going to turn it to the 7 1/4 inch side and score at 3/4, 1 1/2, 5 3/4, and 6 1/2. All right, now fold and burnish all your score lines. Alright, now we can put this either way as long as there's 2 3/4 inch strips on each edge. We're going to start on the long way, and this is what we're going to be doing. A little more complicated than usual, but it's not too bad, not too hard. Alright, let's start down here, go to the first score line, cut it to the second score line, and take off both of those pieces. Go to the next score line, cut it to the second score line, take off the bottom square, and wedge the top one. So that's what we have. All right, go to the next 2 score lines and cut them to the second score line. Now we're just going to take off this bottom rectangle. Go to the next 2 score lines and cut them to the second score line. Take off the bottom square and wedge the top. And then we're going to take off these 2 squares at the end. All right, and that's one side. We're going to do the same exact thing to the other side. Go to the first score line, cut it to the second score line, and take those 2 squares off. Go to the next score line, cut it to the second score line, take off the bottom rectangle, and wedge the top one. Go to the next 2 score lines and cut them to the second score line. And then we're going to take off the bottom rectangle. Go to the next 2 score lines and cut them to the second score line. Take off the bottom square and wedge the top. And then take off these 2 squares here at the end. All right, now what we're going to do is all of these rectangles that stick out above the rest of it, we're going to wedge each side. Just like this one here, we're just doing the bottom one. This middle one, just give a little bit off each side. And then this one, we'll do the bottom one. And then the side ones too, just a little piece. This is so they don't stick out when we fold them. Okay, and then this side, only the bottom ones, and this one here is the only one. And then this side one is the last one. All right, and that's what your cardstock should look like when you're done. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is turn it over, and these 2 we're going to flatten and glue them to this binding. And this just gives the edge a little bit more stiffness and a little finished top here. Okay, once they're set, flip it back over. This is the outside of the box. All right. We're going to start over here. We're going to put glue on these 2 tabs. We're going to take the score line on that tab and match it to this inner rectangle on both sides. All right, so that's one. And then we're going to push this down here. And these side ones, just put a little glue right on those sides and try to get them to stick. You can do it without these being stuck down, but it makes it a little easier for yourself. Let me do this side first. And now the other side. Flip it back over. And we're going to put glue on these 2 tabs and attach the score line, make it straight with this inner rectangle. And we've done that before on boxes. Okay, now we're going to go to this side and push these flaps and just put a little glue over here and get these to stay. And then we need our 2 pieces of cardstock that are 3 by 4 1/4, and we're just going to glue them right over all of this. Okay, so we're going to put glue on all 3 of these sides that are folded in. And then just press this right over and it lines up with the edges. And then this one we're going to put glue. Make sure you get it to the edges so that we can put our Velcro dots on there without them giving us a hard time. And then just put these right along the edges. All right, and that's your box. Okay, so now we're going to get our DSP. I'm going to put the flowered ones on the top here. Just make sure your opening is that side over here. Okay, and then on the inside, I'm going to put one of the flowered and one of the stripes. Now you could do whatever stamping or embellishment on this that you want, or just write a little note. You could even put a little pocket for a gift card if you wanted to. Okay, and then on the outside, I'm going to put this one on the binding on the outside back. You could do 2 of these and put one on the inside too. This is just 6 by 6 paper, so we don't have as much of each pattern. Okay, and then I'll put the stripe one on the back. I think in the different color groups, we only get 2 of each pattern and 4 total of each color, and so they're 2 different patterns. So I just had to make it with 2 because I'm making 2 of these boxes, so there just wasn't really enough. All right, and then we're going to put these 2 long ones, oops, here and here, and then the short ones on all these edges. All right, now we have everything glued up, and let's do our stamping while this dries up. All right, now I don't have a block big enough for this, so I have to use my old stamping platform. Now, they do have this, which is out of stock right now, so I didn't want to do that. But normally you would just pull out a section and the dies match up. So you could just tape it to this piece. You wouldn't have to use a MISTI because you're not going to stamp. But I'll do another project when those come back in stock. So I'm going to ink up this whole thing. Unfortunately, we don't have a stamping platform anymore. Okay. And there you go. Now, we're going to put the dies down, and they all get cut out together. And I'll run them through, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I picked this flower one. One's a little smaller than the next, but 2 of these flowers with the leaves. This extra sets of little leaves. And I don't need 2. I just need 1 of these little flowers. Okay, so that's what I'm using out of all those. Okay, let's start with the flowers first. First of all, I'm going to put a Daffodil Delight center on all of the flowers. Then I'm using light and dark strawberry slush, and I'm just going to do the whole flower in the light first, which is pretty dark actually. Actually, I'm sorry, we're only using this bigger one. We're not using this one too. The bigger one with the leaves. Alright, then I'll take the dark on this larger one, and I'm just going to go over a little bit those marks just to make it a little bit darker around them. Okay. And then I'm going to be using on this one and this one, on these 2 sets of leaves, I'm going to use the dark soft Seafoam. And then on these sets of leaves, I'm going to use the light Old Olive. Alright, and that is all of the coloring. Okay, now we need our circle. Put this here so I can see. And I'm going to start with this piece just about right there, a little over center, and I'm going to glue these with liquid glue. Okay, and then I'm going to glue this piece next to that. And then I'm going to put some dimensionals on the back of this. Now we're going to put this facing up like that. And I'm going to put some glue on the little flower. And put that kind of half underneath this bigger flower. And then the last piece, there it is, I'll glue underneath the edge here. There we go. All right. Now that we've got everything placed, I'm going to do the sentiment with love right around here. So get this positioned how you want it. And then I'm going to stamp with love right there. Great. All right, so now we need our box. And I'm going to use some 3/8 inch adhesive Velcro dots for the closure. I'm going to put them on either corner. All right, and then I'm going to, this is the front of our box, so I'm just going to close this, make sure everything's nice and even, give it a good push. Oops, see, we got to make sure we glue this down better so that it can pull so the Velcro dots will stay on. This one needs a little too. Okay guys, I'm sorry, my video camera cut out at the point where I was putting the Velcro dots on. Alright, and then what I did next was I attached the whole circle to the upper area of the box with dimensionals. I tied a bow with some of the Strawberry Slush faux linen ribbon, and I attached it with a glue dot and a little bit of liquid glue. And then I added some Wink of Stella glitter to the 3 flowers. And for the final touch, I added 3 of the Strawberry Slush gems. Alright, I'm very sorry that I don't have the video, but at least it was towards the end. Alrighty, have a great day. Please subscribe and hit the like button, and I'll see you next time. Bye.